such sights to show you. I have pain. Far weep crown, weep Kennybug.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Good. Fucking ass.
Yeah.
Right. From the top.
Leaving that in.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what Tony doesn't clip that in at the beginning. Right, okay. From the top.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Hun Ya Geek is Showing Season 3. And today, joining me, as always, is some random guy, JB.
Hello. Good evening.
How are you doing then, Hun?
Yeah, I'm good, Tar. Yeah, I can't grumble. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Some sleepless nights due to kitten issues. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Ooh,
I'm fine.
line me up for a pussy gag. We've started now, ladies and gentlemen. We've
And
started.
also joining me tonight, Sid James.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for joining us tonight on tonight's wonderful episode. And tonight we are going to be talking one of those things that has raged for generations, a war seemingly without end. That is, of course, the console wars.
Yeah.
But first, Guy, what you been watching this week?
This week I've been watching Quantum Leap
Again.
and I'm a little frustrated.
Oh dear.
Yes.
No spoilers though.
No, this is not spoilery. This is due to the fact that we've had 9 episodes
Mm-hmm.
and now we're having a break. And I don't know when the next 9 episodes are being released.
I hate when shows
For
do that.
fuck's sake. We're not American. We don't need a mid-season break.
Yeah. I used to hate when the CW DC shows used to do that. I used to get to episode 13 and be like, okay, see you in 3 months. It's like, huh?
Wankers.
Yeah. Like,
Don't just tease my taint and then expect me to be happy that you're fucking leaving me with a heart on here. Metaphorically.
metaphorically, yes.
I
One would hope.
don't need this shit. Either do it weekly or drop the fucking lot.
Yeah. That could be a topic for another episode. You know, do we still want weekly format or do we want it all in one go so we can watch it at our leisure? Topic for another episode, I feel.
Definitely. So yeah, there's been that. What else have you been watching, dear?
It must have been good if you can't remember.
Yeah, the adjudicator can't remember. Nope. Oh yes, Star Trek: Strange New World continues. See, that's weekly.
Yeah, and again, you were watching that last time, so
Yeah. Well, it continues. Sorry.
Fair play.
Fucking hell. What have you been watching then?
Well, I finally finished up on Young Sheldon season 5.
Yeah, well done.
I finally finished up on that, and yeah, it's kind of going in the direction I was like, it got to that last episode, and I was like, we're getting there now. We're kind of getting to the almost the crossover point,
The
So
crux of the matter.
yes, the real him leaving home and all that kind of shit. We're finally getting into all that, and it's like, whoa. And while my daughter was here for the week, we watched Big Bang Theory all day,
Every day.
for a week.
Oh, so you did the lot then?
Nearly. Started on season 1, episode 1, and now we're on season 8, and they're all blurred together, and I can't remember which episode's which anymore.
Well, these things are when the whole
insane for a
universe is in
moment
a hot
there.
bent state.
So apart from that, though, we did finally get round to watching Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
Ooh.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate slightly here with it. I went into it having heard, like I'm sure yourself, is that it's not a good film.
Mm.
I can say that if you go into it with the same kind of mind frame that you watched the first Venom film in, and for me, I thought the first Venom film was good action film, good superhero film, but not a good Venom movie.
Mm.
And this is very much more of that. It's the action scene. When you see Carnage like letting rip for the first time, no pun intended, but when you see him, doing his thing, you are kind of like, okay, I like that. I like that. And
Mm.
some of the little one-liners here or there did kind of make me actually laugh out loud. Like they caught me off guard, and I was like, I was not expecting that. So it had its moments, but
But
I was that nerdy bitch, that little geek in the corner going, they got that wrong, they got that wrong, that bit's wrong, that bit's wrong, this bit over here is wrong. See that guy in the background? Yeah, he's supposed to be a main character, but fuck him off for now.
mm.
It's
and
very much that kind of film.
and for this reason, I'm doing a Tony on both films.
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
To be honest, right, they are worth the watch. Just even if you just watch them the once, they're worth it because they are entertaining. But when
You're
you
just gonna
look
piss me off.
when you look at the source material, you're like, that's not Venom, that's not Carnage. So, like I said, it's very much with the first film, good, good action film, good superhero film, just
Mm.
not a good Venom movie.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of that. But anyway, that's literally all I've watched this week. So there we go.
Delights of children.
Oh, yes. Amazing having an ear 15-year-old in the house going, do you want to go out? No. What do you want to do? Watch Big Bang Theory. Okay, then. Again.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's nearly over.
Using the will to live. No, it's a good show, but there's only so
Because
many
it
times
is,
you can
but
watch it. There's
yeah.
only so many times you can watch it before you start going, "Nah."
Enough now.
Yeah, I think what I may end up doing eventually is just going through it and picking my favorite couple of episodes out of each season.
Yeah.
Might as fucking well.
True.
But other than that, we have to give a huge, and I mean like
Mm.
huge shout out to the Retro Movie Zone and the wonderful Mr. Tony Harris for nominating both of us for YouTube Entertainer of the Month
Yay.
for August. And I'm kind of stunned. I'm like, wow, we got
Yeah.
nominated. Like, I don't get nominated for nothing. Not unless it's designated, driver kind of thing. Like, you're not
I
drinking
got
tonight.
nom-
Oh, okay.
I got nominated Guns of the Year once. So
Well, isn't that every year though?
yeah, but I'm so good at it, so I keep getting nominated.
Yeah, true. I mean, you win it hands down.
Gotta do things you love.
Exactly. They say you are what you eat.
Oh, well then.
That's why I'm an arsehole. Occasionally dick. I'm sorry, YouTube. Please don't ban us.
Yeah. But no, seriously,
Thank you.
thank you, Tony.
Yes, and thank you to
Really.
everybody else who, in the comments on Tony's video, nominated us as well. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that watches. We say this all the time. Like, we are so thankful for the viewers we do have. We really are. We're a small time channel. We don't shoot for the stars. We're just here to do what we love, and this is what we love.
We don't shoot for the stars and we don't pay for likes. So
Exactly. We definitely don't pay for likes.
yep.
But moving swiftly on, as we said at the intro to the episode, we are talking console wars. Unless guys got any more you want to add?
No.
No. Right. So we're moving on to the subject of the episode, console wars. Now, this pair of old farts here, myself and Mr. JB, we're old enough to remember the early days of the war. Cast your minds way back in the sands of times to that ancient period known as the 1980s.
If you remember it, you weren't really there.
Yeah, that's what they say about the 60s. If you can remember it, you weren't there.
Yeah.
But I remember stepping my first foot into the console wars at the tender age of 7 with a Sega Master System with Alex the Kid built into it.
Oh, I had the same one.
Yes, I
That was the
wanted the
Master
Sonic
System
one
too.
though. I wanted the Sonic one,
Hmm.
unfortunately, because there was 2 versions released, but we'll get to that.
Hmm.
But to really kick this episode off, we kind of have to wind it back just a little bit further to the late 70s when gaming consoles were yeah, you had things like the Atari, you had Amiga, you had Commodore, you had all these guys throwing
Hmm.
their hat into the video game arena. Atari nearly killed it with the great video game crash of I think it was 83 or was it 82?
Yeah, yeah, I believe.
Hmm?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. With the release of E.T. the video game. That thing could get its whole other episode. There are channels all over YouTube that have done videos deep diving the whole ET thing and the fact that loads of copies were buried out in a desert in New Mexico, which turned out to be true. It was an urban legend and it turned out to
Hmm.
be true. That was the shocking part about it. I think there's a documentary on Netflix about it.
Yeah.
There you go. Go check it out. Netflix, pay us.
That chance.
But it wasn't really until the release of 2 consoles from 2 companies, and they very quickly became rivals.
They did.
We are talking, of course, about the Sega Master System and the Nintendo Entertainment System, more lovingly referred to now as the NES
And
or SNES if you want to get American about it.
no, SNES was the next
Oh,
one.
that was the Super Nintendo, yeah, NES. That was it.
Come on
Sorry.
now.
I'm
Come on, Violet.
been a
Sort
long
yourself.
day and I've got a kitten clawing at my knee.
What you do in your own home is none of our affair.
But anyway, with the release of these 2 consoles, it very, very quickly became, and this was kind of pushed by the fans and the companies kind of adopted it as well and
Mm.
ran with it. It started what we now refer to as the console wars. You were either a Nintendo gamer or you were a Sega gamer. You were one or the other. You could not be both.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had one or the other, and the two did not mix. There was playground arguments about which games were better.
Well, no one could afford both back then.
No, no.
Not even in Barton.
No. So, what was your first encounter with the whole console war thing? You mentioned earlier the Master System.
Yeah, I did have the Master System before that. Let's face it, we all had a ZX Spectrum
ZX Spectrum, yes.
with the tape games. So getting a console was just such a kick in the pants. It's like, what? There's no more waiting 10 minutes to 15 minutes to
Oh, yeah.
load a bloody game for it to then crash.
Yeah, you just pop your cartridge in, you hit power,
Yeah,
away,
off you go.
away you go.
That was a total game changer.
Oh,
It really was.
definitely, definitely. And
To have a game built in as well, because
oh yeah,
that was
I
the
mean,
shit.
nowadays it's so commonplace though, like digital gaming.
Mm.
You can play from the cloud now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then, like how like
Yeah, back in
literally
'87, Jesus.
turning your games console on and it having a game just load up, you were like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well,
Like it was mind blowing. It really was.
mm,
So like and it's kind of where it all started really was Nintendo versus Sega. Like we're saying earlier,
mm.
like you were one or the other. You were a fan of one. 2 seconds. My kitten keeps getting stuck on the curtain. Leave the
We'll see.
curtain alone. Sorry. I might cut some of this.
No, you won't.
Um,
So,
but yeah, back then to power up your console and the game load up, you were just like,
yeah, that was like tomorrow's world shit. That was.
God, yeah, definitely. Like it was, like I said, it's commonplace now, but back then, such a revolutionary thing. Nintendo didn't do
Mm.
that, did they?
No, they did not.
Mm. But
Nintendo had a crap controller as well.
yeah, oh yeah, only 2 buttons. Ugh.
No, the Master System only had 2 buttons, to be fair.
Well, That's true. The Mega Drive upgraded it to three.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll stick with
Mm,
what we're talking about here. So the Nintendo Entertainment System had the likes of Mario, Link, Kid Icarus,
mm,
Metroid was another one.
yeah.
Now it did have a lot of very good games, franchises that are still going quite strong to this day.
Yeah.
That's testament to some of their franchises that they have staying power.
Mm,
Okay, like every kind of franchise in the world, it's had its crap moments, the Super Mario Brothers movie.
well, the Bob Hoskins one.
Yes,
Mm,
that's what I was on about, the Hoskins one. That one was eeh. Dennis Hopper as King Koopa.
mm. I've not seen the new one, so I can't comment
I
on
can't comment on that one either. Again, not seen it. So, but yeah, and then you flip over to the Sega side of things, which was my bread and butter.
that. Mm.
You had
Got a certain blue hedgehog.
yep, Sonic. It showed how fast video game consoles could be.
Mm.
Like that sense of speed at that time.
Especially on an 8-bit machine.
Hmm?
Especially on an 8-bit machine.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the sense of speed you got on an 8-bit console seems
It's just
archaic.
mental.
It seems archaic now.
Yeah.
But back in that time period, we were used to like little stick figures and stuff moving around on a screen, and all of a sudden we've got these bright, vibrant colors and this
Mm.
hedgehog moving super fast with this really bouncy music and easy to figure out gameplay. Just pick it up, jump on the enemies, keep moving forward, pick up the rings.
Yeah. Well, sideways.
Easy. What you know what I mean?
Head end.
I'm thinking in two dimension. I'm thinking in 3 dimensions of a 2 dimensional screen. So yeah, you just
Yeah.
keep going.
But it wasn't just that. I mean, things like Shinobi.
Oh, definitely. Shinobi. Golden Axe.
Yeah.
I look to this day, I still love playing Golden Axe. Streets of Rage.
Yes. I was a big Streets of Rage kid.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these did come out on the Master System, but I played them more on the Mega Drive because it was that
Mm.
kind of period where both consoles were out and they were making the same games for both consoles, and then
Yeah.
Master System just sort of disappeared. But then
Funny
again,
that.
the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, did pretty much the same thing. Just was like, no,
Mm.
no more for that one. We're going to concentrate on this. And you got better games, the newer Mario's, the ones that
Yeah.
people remember. They introduced characters like Yoshi. They birthed these huge franchises. But again, I was a Sega player, so
Yeah. So was I. I was thinking, oh, maybe there'll be a bit of a to and fro on this episode, but I guess not.
no, no. I mean, I do have a real nostalgia for the Nintendo games. I think with a lot of them, it's because I played them for such fleeting moments, like round at a friend's house or
Mm.
at a neighbor's or something like that. I'd never played these games before, and I was there for
Yeah.
like an afternoon, so I got to play what like this, like I think it was Zelda,
Yeah.
um, Link's Awakening, I think it was.
Mm.
I got to play that once for one afternoon, some 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So when I see these things pop up, I'm like, oh, I remember that. It tugs that little nostalgia string,
Yeah.
presses my end spot for nostalgia.
Say nothing of that one. I ain't touching that one.
What she said.
Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum.
So,
Yeah. I know. I mean, yeah, I'd sometimes sort of go around a mate's house playing Nintendo. I'd be like,
Wolfenstein. That
it's
was one that
good.
I used to
Yeah.
play on my friend's Super Nintendo.
But that controller. No. Sorry, it's a no from me.
No, no. I used to call it the dog bone
Mm,
because it looked like a
yeah.
bit of a dog bone,
Yeah.
square in the middle, but
Yeah.
that looks so wrong on the screen.
Oh, behave. He's gone, folks. There we go.
Sorry. Did that to myself. Oops, I did it again. Anyway, console wars. Sega versus Nintendo.
Yes.
So we've
I
talked
mean,
about games. Let's talk about the hardware itself.
hmm. Did you have the one or the Master System 2?
I had the Master System 2, the one with the flappy lid.
So did I. I always wanted the original one with the triangle sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
that looked cool as shit.
Do you know what, right? I've only ever seen one of those in person in my whole
Hmm.
life. And I was on holiday with my parents down in a little seaside town called Breen.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a little car booty markety kind of thing.
Hmm.
And someone had one of them for sale.
Oh
And I can't remember how much it was, but I remember seeing it. And I remember going, Master System 1. Wow. Whoa, no way. And then yeah, ever since then, like you said, the red triangular kind of shape.
yeah.
I was just like, kind of
We'll
want.
need a picture.
I will try and get a picture up in the void around us somewhere. But yeah, the Master System 1 was I loved the design of that. The System 2 was sleek, I
Yeah.
suppose you could say.
Yeah. I mean, it cut down the fat of the actual space you'd need for the machine, but I don't know that original design I think is iconic.
Yeah, and I think the one downside that I remember from the original NES was because it was a top loader, basically.
Yeah.
If that spring on the inside went, you
Yeah.
could get your games in or out. Whereas with the Master System, it was just slide the thing back, push it in, press the buttons, off you go.
Yeah.
So slight design oversight there, but I think you'll have to agree that by 2023 standards, the design of that little grey box
Mm.
is fucking iconic.
Oh yeah.
Like the minute, like even people who aren't gamers, the minute they see a picture of that, if you held up a
Mm.
picture of it with no of them or none of the markings on it, man, what's that? They'd say that's a Nintendo. It's
Sure.
it, it's in the zeitgeist. It's in the public zeitgeist.
Mm.
Even if you're not into it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's been referenced in everything. Anything set in the 80s has got a fucking Nintendo somewhere.
Mm.
So,
We are going to have to discuss the elephant in the room.
mm,
The winner. Unfortunately, Nintendo won.
yeah. I was going to go into that sort of over the generation of as the war intensified,
Mm.
because we all remember the infamous Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Then don't. Yeah.
Yeah, like we all know the clause came out, but I think yes, we all know Nintendo won. They
Yeah.
did. And I think it was Nintendo were picking up stride with the SNES.
Mm.
Super Nintendo came out and they had all the Terminator arcade game where you could use the big light gun bazooka.
Yeah. That's the thing that peripherals were just.
Yeah. And it's something that Nintendo is still really, really good at now is the
Mm.
peripherals. They're brilliant at that. You look at the Switch, I've got one in my bedroom. The Nintendo Labo that you can get.
Mm.
Like that is a brilliant idea. Turning your games console into something you can actually physically build. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
but sorry, tangent there. Sega, I think, panicked and they scrambled.
Yeah. The strange thing is, Sega actually did better in Europe and Brazil
Yes, they did.
than Nintendo did, but unfortunately, the important markets are America and Japan.
Yep. And Nintendo outsold pretty much everything over there. That's what I mean.
Mm.
Sega kind of scrambled and they were like, what can we do? What can we do? So they brought out the Mega Drive 2. Then they brought out the CD32, then the 32X, and it became a Frankenstein's
Yeah.
cobbled together version of a console. And I remember one of my friends having one of my friends who was quite rich had the Mega Drive
You'll
2,
have one of them.
the CD attachment, the
Oh my God.
30X attachment. And I went round there one afternoon to play, you'll remember this, Sonic and Knuckles with Sonic 3, the double cartridge thing you had to
Yep,
do.
yep. Yep.
once he put that all together to be able to play it, it was like it's like standing this tall, and it was just
Yeah,
bits like plastic cases just kind of unevenly stacked. It was horrible, and I think that's when Sega kind of shot themselves in the foot.
yeah, because I didn't know anyone who had that whole setup.
I knew
So
one person, and I think look, I'll do a mention here. The guy will never see it, so it's okay.
yeah,
Angry Video Game Nerd here on YouTube has done a video about this kind of thing, about the Mega Drive and all the add-ons and all that kind of crap. And if I remember correctly, he says that if you added it all up back in that day's, back money in that
mm,
day's standards, it was over $600
yeah,
to buy this Frankenstein's cobbled together console. Was it worth it? No, not really, because it was at the arse end of its life cycle, and they were bringing
yeah,
it out for it when the PlayStation 1 was already out,
mm,
you know. And I think that kind of brings us up to a little bit further into the console wars.
mm.
To put it in fighting game terms, a new challenger appears. And this is what really kind of finished Sega off.
I'd say so. Yeah, it's Jesus.
Sony came stomping in with the PlayStation. No more of this cartridge bullshit. No, 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 no.
Nah,
Playing on CDs now. Screw you guys with your console cartridges. We can do full motion video. We can do full 3D graphics. What can you do?
mm,
And Sega did in quick succession the Saturn, the Dreamcast,
yeah.
and then they finally died.
I
kind
don't
of,
know. I
kind of.
didn't know anyone who had either a Dreamcast or the thingy one.
I had a Dreamcast, but
Yeah.
it was mainly because it came out um, late 99.
Mm,
I turned 16 in the 2000. So it was a 16th birthday present.
yeah.
And I will say this, right? I will defend it, right? The lovely little Dreamcast. When it was games that were tailor-made for it, or very good arcade ports, things like Crazy Taxi, House of the
Mm,
Dead, Soul Calibur, games like that, it was really good. It really excelled. But the problem was you had ports of games that were already on existing consoles
yeah.
and third-party games that were just inferior ports of PC. It had a back catalog that was this much good, this much crap. But we
Yeah.
should thank the Dreamcast for one franchise only, and that's Shenmue.
Shenmue.
Yes. If anyone's played that out there, please drop it in the comments. I played the first two and loved them. It's
Kidding
like a
hell.
it's like a 70s kung fu movie, but as a video
Right.
game.
I was gonna say 'cause I'm drawing a blank here. So.
Never mind. But anyway, roll it back a little bit. Yes, Nintendo did win the console wars to an extent. I think it was more the fact that once the PlayStation come along,
Mm,
Sega's days as a hardware company, at least,
yeah.
were over. Now they are still around. They're a development company pretty much
Yeah.
only now, but maybe one day, you never know. I mean, people are kind of getting bored of like same console, new shell,
Mm,
basically. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we're at with gaming now. We're kind of getting it's only 10% better than the last one. Well, we remember when we went from cartridge to CD. Could you not do some? Could you not
yeah. That's
reinvent the wheel?
yeah.
No, but
But hey, never mind. Do you have a favorite game?
oh, are we going to go by console here, like one for
Yeah.
each? Right. Okay, then on the Master System, purely because it was the one I played the most. Alex the Kid in Miracle World.
Mm,
It was the one that I played the most. I think it's one of the few games that I never finished.
yeah. Blimey.
It's Gizmo. What's up? Sorry, my cat is meowing at me. Come here, darling. What's up?
Oh,
Here she is. Look, Gizmo.
oh.
Gizmo. What's up, darling? You can't be crawling around on me at the minute, darling. There you go. Anyway,
Yeah.
we deal with my pussy. I'm sorry.
Cat stops play.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So what was I saying? I was the kid on
Didn't finish it.
on the original NES. I'd go with Super Mario just because it's iconic, and it was the first game I played on it.
Yeah.
For the Mega Drive, a little bit out of left field this one because it's not a Sonic game. Well, okay, I have to do a tie here. Two. I can't decide between two. One of them has got to be the fantastic Sonic 2.
Yeah.
It took everything about the series and just elevated it. Probably, quite possibly, in my opinion, one of the best in the franchise. The other game is X-Men 2, The Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I loved about that game is it caught you off guard. Put it in and hit power, it went straight into gameplay with a random character, and you had to do the first level as a tutorial.
Yeah.
And then it went to the main menu, and it would always catch people out.
Yeah.
My friends who hadn't played it.
I don't remember a game doing that.
Yeah, there wasn't many. For the Super Nintendo, trying to think which one did I play the most. I'd have to go with a fighting game for this one, and it's not going to be Street Fighter.
Interesting.
Actually, Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Because it kind of took that idea that Mortal Kombat did with the almost stop motion Goro. It took that idea and did it with every character.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
And then let's jump forward again a little bit more to the Saturn. Didn't have it. And for the Dreamcast, hands down, got to be Soul Calibur. It's the one I played again. It's the one I played the most.
Yeah.
The first game I played on it, but it was the one that I certainly played the most because with having the 4 controller ports,
Yeah.
you know,
you could have
team battle,
get your mates on it.
Kind of shit. Yeah. I will say that is one thing actually that I did like about the Dreamcast as well. You could have 4-player co-op, couch co-op without an adapter from the get-go. And that wasn't something Nintendo did until the N64 and GameCube.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. Yeah, fair one. For me, let's see, Master System. Ooh, that's a difficult one. I'm gonna have to go Streets of Rage because I played this shit out of that.
Oh yeah, I can agree with you. I still play it now, the 4th one. Brilliant.
So Mega Drive, it's got to be Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, because it had the blood, then Nintendo didn't.
Yeah.
Another point of Sega do what Nintendo don't.
Exactly. we want blood, people.
Okay, I mean,
blood.
on the Mega Drive, you did still need a code to unlock the blood, but it was there.
Exactly.
It was there.
Let's see. So that was Mega Drive. Dreamcast didn't have.
Or the Saturn.
All the Saturn. So, and I didn't have any mates who had it. So, off shit out.
There we go then. I think that kind of covers the console war, the Sega versus Nintendo years.
Yeah, at least the 80s.
At least the 80s and through the 90s, because they kind of dominated the market. There were some, from what I remember, there were some smaller video game consoles, like from smaller companies that were released around that time. Again, viewers, we're not going to go over all of them. If you want to watch something like that, go check out Angry Video Game Nerd. Again, he's done like reviews of pretty much every console that's ever come out.
Yeah.
So you want to watch something like that, go check him out.
There was a series on Netflix, and I can't remember the name of it.
Thank you. There we go. Not that I watch Netflix all the time or anything, you know.
Not at all.
Not at all. But yeah, I think that kind of covers the early days of the war, the days where it was at a stalemate really for a long time. It wasn't in, like we said earlier, it wasn't into release of the PS1. That's when things got.
I do have a theory And it might sound a little half baked,
Mm.
but so am I.
Carry on.
Yeah, I've always maintained that Sega players went on to become PlayStation players,
Yeah, because I did.
and so did I.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I had my Mega Drive until it was on its last legs, until it was like the area was all looked all staticky,
yeah,
starting to degrade. I'd had it that long.
so
I mean, I got my PlayStation what late? I got it Christmas '97.
mm,
I had my Mega Drive up until 1998.
yeah,
It was dying a death, and I wanted the PlayStation because I saw the kind of games that were on it, and I was
yeah,
like, that's more my kind of thing. Because the N64 was coming out at the same time,
yeah,
but then I saw like 3D Mario and 3D Zelda, and I was like,
mm,
is that it? On the PlayStation, we're seeing like these racing games and fighting games and shooting games, and I'm like, hell yeah, I want that. So
that's the thing. Yeah, and your Nintendo players became your Xbox players.
yeah, it's funny you should mention that, right? I have noticed that throughout my life, like I said, I kept my Mega Drive.
Mm,
I kept my PlayStation until it too died a death.
mm,
But that was when I got the Dreamcast. So I went from Sega to Sony to Sega.
yeah,
Then when my Dreamcast finally put out on me, I moved to PS2 and I've had a PlayStation ever since then. But whenever I've owned a Nintendo console, I think the longest I've ever owned one is about 3 years, and that was my N64.
mm,
Every other Nintendo console I've had, whether it's GameCube, Super Nintendo, the original NES, even the SNES Mini,
mm.
you know, I I've always ended up getting rid of them at one point or another because I don't play it. Get rid of it.
See?
So it's like this is my second Xbox One, so it's the same deal with that.
Mm,
Just saying, PlayStations I tend to keep hold of, other consoles tend to fall
yeah,
away. But I think because we're now moving more and more into the PlayStation and Xbox and all that kind
yeah.
of era,
We'll call it a night.
we'll call it a night and we'll do a part two of the console
Yeah,
wars
this will come back.
when the war really intensified to the point where it got a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Yeah, it's games, people. It doesn't need to be that serious.
And not everything needs a green and brown or grey filter put over it.
Yeah,
Looking at you, PS3. So, what's the color palette for the entire PS3 back catalog? Well, it's this shade of green, this shade of brown, this shade of grey, and this kind of shade of piss yellow.
yeah, have it all.
But anyway, that's it from us tonight then.
Excellent.
Right.
I've got to be said, I've been the random man.
I have
I'll see you
been
next
the Demon Queen, Miss Violet Impulse. We shall catch you next time with a maybe slightly different episode. We're not going to double part this. We may
time.
take a
No,
break from this and do something special next time. So, catch you next time. And remember, everyone, it can't rain all the time. Bye.
bye bye, folks. Take care.